Attack the mindset, not just the mood, because your mood is temporary, but your mindset defines your life. Mood is how you feel right now. Mindset is how you operate regardless of how you feel. Most people wait for motivation. They wait to feel like it. They wait for the weather to be right, the timing to be perfect, the stress to go away, and while they wait, the mission slips away. That's the mistake. That's the trap. You don't wait. You attack. Mood is an illusion. It's fleeting. It shifts with food, with sleep, with stress, with distractions. You can't trust it. It's like fog on a battlefield. It clouds your decisions, blurs your target. But your mindset, that's your compass, that's your anchor, that's the steel spine that says, I move forward, no matter what. You don't train your mindset by watching motivational videos or reading quotes. You train it with action, repeated, disciplined, unrelenting action. You train it when you get up at 4:30 a.m. even when you're tired, when you do the workout even when you're sore, when you show up even when your mind gives you 1,000 excuses not to. That's mindset over mood. That's power. Attack the mindset by setting non-negotiables. Lock in your standards, make them law, and follow them whether you feel like it or not. Because the minute you let your mood decide your actions, you hand over control. And in this life, control is everything. Discipline is control. Consistency is control. And mindset, real, forged warrior mindset, is full spectrum control over your decisions. You want to grow, you want results. Then stop treating your emotions like truth. They're not. Emotions are data, not orders. Read them, but don't obey them. You obey your code, you obey the mission, and if your mood tries to get in the way, you override it with discipline. That's how you rewire your brain. That's how you build resilience. You refuse to be ruled by temporary emotion. You commit to long-term execution. People ask, how do I stay motivated? The answer is, you don't. You stay disciplined. Motivation is a spark. Mindset is fire. Motivation fades. Mindset endures. You keep going even when your mood tells you to stop. You show up because that's who you are now. That's your standard. That's your identity. You don't rise when you feel like it. You rise when it's time, and it's always time. Mood says maybe later. Mindset says right now. Mood says I'm tired. Mindset says I'll do it tired. Mood says take it easy. Mindset says double down. When you attack the mindset, you don't just fight the weakness, you eliminate it. You don't manage struggle, you conquer it. Mood is a storm. Mindset is your shelter. Build it, strengthen it, live it. Negative self-talk is the most dangerous voice you'll ever hear, and it comes from inside your own head. It's not a stranger. It's not an enemy in front of you. It's you whispering lies, feeding doubt, poisoning your progress. That voice says you're not good enough. You always fail. You don't have what it takes. And the more you listen, the more power it gains. The more you accept it, the more control it has. It grows like a weed feeding on your insecurity, thriving in your silence. But here's the truth. You don't have to accept that voice. You don't have to entertain it. You don't even have to argue with it. You kill it. You replace it. Because negative self-talk is not reality, it's repetition. It's just the loop that's been playing in your head for too long. It got in there from failure, from pain, from people who gave up on you. But that doesn't make it the truth. Truth is what you decide to reinforce. Truth is what you drill into your mind every single day with discipline, with action, with belief. And that's where affirmations come in, not cheesy feel, good lines, not wishful thinking, but real, aggressive, battle-tested affirmations. Words forged from pain and rebuilt into strength. You replace I can't with I can. You replace I'm not enough with I am more than ready. You replace I'll probably fail with I'm built to win. You don't wait until you believe it, you say it until you do. You say it until it becomes muscle memory, until the voice inside your head stops sabotaging you and starts supporting you, because your mind is listening all the time. Every word you speak, every phrase you repeat, it becomes code. You program your thinking, so why would you program weakness? Every time you speak defeat, you dig your own mental grave, but every time you speak strength, you rise. That's the power of choice. You either speak life or speak death into your path. You either feed fear or you feed fire. So you make the switch. You become ruthless. You speak words that match your goals, not your doubts. You create your internal dialogue the way a warrior sharpens his blade carefully, consistently, relentlessly. And when that voice creeps back in, when the doubt starts whispering again, you don't listen, you drown it out. You overpower it with repetition, with truth, with belief built through discipline. You don't let the old voice narrate your story anymore. You rewrite the script. You remind yourself who you are, who you're becoming, and why you will not quit. Negative self-talk might knock at the door, but you never let it in. You've replaced it with a new voice, strong, focused, unshakable. Discipline is the antidote to mental weakness. When your mind starts to spiral, when anxiety creeps in, when fear tightens its grip, discipline is what saves you, not comfort, not distractions, not waiting for motivation. Discipline is the blade you sharpen daily. It's the structure that keeps you grounded when everything else tries to pull you apart. People talk about mindset like it's some mystical force. It's not. It's built brick by brick with actions you take, especially when you don't feel like it. Mental weakness doesn't show up loud. It whispers. It tells you to hit snooze. It tells you to skip the workout. It tells you you're not ready, not capable, not strong enough. And if you listen, it gets stronger. But discipline doesn't negotiate. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. Discipline shows up every day, no matter what. And every time you choose discipline over comfort, you weaken the grip of that mental weakness. You starve it. You bury it under effort, under structure, under consistency. You don't beat fear by thinking about it. You beat it by moving through it, step by step, rep by rep. You train your body, and in the process, you train your mind. Because real strength isn't just muscles, it's showing up when your thoughts tell you to quit. It's pushing forward with a clear head and a heavy burden. That's where mental toughness is forged. That's where resilience is born. You won't get there through shortcuts. You won't get there by reading quotes or watching videos. You get there through pain, repetition, and the decision to never let weakness win. Discipline is a system. It's waking up at the same time, doing the work whether it's raining or shining, fueling your body with purpose, controlling what you can and accepting what you can't. It's staying locked in when distractions scream your name. And it's that repeated structure that gives you control over your mind. When chaos hits, discipline gives you a plan. When doubt shows up, discipline gives you momentum. And when weakness tries to convince you to back down, discipline reminds you of who you are and what you've built. You become unshakable not by removing stress, but by becoming stronger than it. And that strength is trained through repetition, through showing up every single time, especially when it's hard. That's the separator. The average quit when it's uncomfortable. The disciplined keep moving, not because they feel like it, but because it's who they are. Discipline isn't a mood, it's an identity. You either feed it or you feed weakness. There's no in between. You want to kill mental weakness, then earn your strength. One disciplined act at a time, repeat, rewire, rebuild. That's the process. That's how you take a broken mindset and forge it into something unbreakable. You don't just wake up one day confident, focused, or disciplined. You build that. You build it with repetition day in, day out, no excuses, because the brain doesn't change through talk. It changes through action. Consistent, deliberate action. What you do consistently becomes who you are, and what you repeat, you reinforce. The problem is most people repeat the wrong things. They repeat fear. They repeat hesitation. They repeat self-doubt and failure until it becomes their identity. That's why you've got to flip the script. You've got to take control of what you feed your mind. You can't just let thoughts come and go. You've got to dominate them. You've got to intentionally install new commands, like a warrior programming his weapon before battle. And you don't do that once. You do it over and over again until the old patterns are overwritten. That's rewiring. That's how you take a mind full of doubt and reshape it into steel, through discipline, through affirmations, through action, through doing what you say you'll do, especially when it's hard. That's how the brain starts to shift. You train it the same way you train the body with reps. Want to be more confident? Start acting like it before you feel it. Want to build focus? Practice it in the little moments. Every time you catch yourself drifting and snap back, you're rewiring. Every time you fight off an excuse and execute instead, you're rebuilding, brick by brick, layer by layer, But this isn't an overnight transformation. It's war, internal war. You're going up against years of programming. Years of fear, failure, bad habits, and weak thinking. You're not just trying to grow, you're tearing down the old structure and building something new. That's not clean, that's not easy, that's work, and it's worth it. Because every time you repeat a strong action, every time you execute when you don't feel like it, you carve a new groove in your brain. And over time, that groove becomes your default. You stop hesitating, you stop overthinking, you just move. That's the goal, to move without permission from your mood, to execute without needing motivation. That's freedom, that's mental strength, and it only comes from repetition. Repeat, rewire, rebuild. This is how you build a mind that can't be broken. This is how you turn doubt into dominance. You repeat what you want to become. You rewire the patterns that hold you back. And you rebuild yourself into a weapon, not just once, but every single day. You are in control, always. No matter the chaos around you, no matter the setbacks, no matter what other people say or do, the one thing that remains constant is your control over yourself, your actions, your decisions, your effort. You don't get to choose the weather, but you choose how you move through the storm. You don't get to decide what life throws at you, but you absolutely decide whether you'll let it break you or build you. And the minute you start taking full ownership, everything changes, because as long as you blame, you remain powerless. But the moment you say, "This is mine," you take the wheel. Control isn't about pretending everything's perfect. It's not about faking strength. It's about real, grounded responsibility. It's about understanding that no matter how unfair life gets, your reaction is still yours. You own it, you shape it, you mold it into action. The weak give excuses, the strong give results. The moment you shift from victim to warrior is the moment control becomes your superpower. Control means you don't wait on motivation, you move anyway. It means when the world gets loud, you stay locked in. When fear creeps in, you respond with discipline. When plans fall apart, you adapt, improvise, overcome. That's control, that's power, not flashy, not easy, but earned through every decision you make when it would have been easier to give in. Too many people hand away their control to their emotions. They let anger make decisions. They let fear paralyze them. They let insecurity drive their lives, and then they wonder why everything feels chaotic. But the truth is simple. If you don't take control, something else will, and that something is usually weakness. Doubt, distraction, destruction. That's why you have to step in. You have to grab the reins and lead your mind, because if you don't, it will lead you, and it doesn't always lead somewhere good. Control means you set your standard and stick to it. It means your word is law, even when no one's watching. It means you don't need validation or applause. You move in silence, you build in solitude, and you execute with precision. You don't wait to feel ready. You act your way into readiness. That's how leaders operate. That's how warriors are forged. You are in control when you stop looking outward and start looking inward. You stop pointing fingers and start making changes. You stop waiting for the world to shift and start shifting your own habits, mindset, routine. You stop reacting and start commanding. That's the mindset of someone who refuses to be pushed around by circumstances. That's the mindset of someone who wins because they've already decided to. Control isn't optional, it's essential, and the best part, it's already yours. You just have to use it. Silence the inner enemy. That voice in your head that tells you you're not good enough, not ready, not capable. That's not you. That's fear wearing your voice. That's doubt trying to blend in. And the more you listen, the more it grows. It whispers in the quiet moments when no one's around. It waits until you're tired, uncertain, vulnerable, then it attacks. You'll fail. You're wasting your time. You don't have what it takes. That voice doesn't care about your future. It only wants to keep you small, stuck, weak, but you weren't built for that. You were built for more, and if you want to rise, you have to silence it. You don't argue with the inner enemy. You don't reason with it. You overpower it with action, with effort, with daily execution. Every time that voice tells you to quit, you do one more rep. Every time it says you can't, you prove it wrong through movement. That's how you take back control. You don't wait for confidence, you earn it through decisions. You bury that inner voice under discipline. This voice isn't unique to you, everyone has it. Even the strongest minds feel it creeping in. But the difference between the average and the exceptional is simple. The The exceptional don't let that voice win. They recognize it, call it out, and shut it down. They don't feed it with hesitation or overthinking. They move, they take the shot, they make the call, they step into the fear and erase it through presence. Because the inner enemy can't survive when you're fully locked in on action. The more you listen to that negative voice, the more you train your brain to doubt itself. You reinforce weakness, you become your own obstacle. That's why you must become your own protector, your own commander. You replace the voice of defeat with the voice of truth. You tell yourself what needs to be said. I am in control. I keep going. I don't break. I don't listen to lies. These aren't just words, they are weapons, and you wield them every day out loud on repeat until that weak voice fades into nothing. Silencing the inner enemy doesn't mean pretending it doesn't exist. It means confronting it, seeing it for what it is, fear trying to hijack your mission, and shutting it down every time it speaks. It's a fight, and like all fights, you win it with reps of action, reps of belief, reps of staying locked in on the goal even when your mind screams for comfort. The inner enemy is loud at first, but with time, with discipline, with relentless repetition, it gets quieter. Until eventually, your voice is the only one that matters. The voice that says, I own this. The voice that says, keep pushing. The voice that refuses to be silenced. Affirmations are weapons, not just words you say to feel better, real tools of mental warfare. In a battle for your mind, the thoughts you choose to repeat become your strongest allies or your deadliest enemies. Every word you say to yourself is ammunition. Every phrase you repeat is a bullet fired into the battlefield of your mind. You want to win? Then you use affirmations like a soldier uses his rifle, with precision, with intention, with relentless discipline. This isn't about fluff or wishful thinking. It's about programming your brain for victory. When your mind doubts you, when fear screams, when fatigue drags you down, affirmations are the commands you give yourself to fight back. I am disciplined. I am relentless. I will not quit. These words don't just float in the air. They sink deep. They change the wiring in your brain. Over time, they reshape your identity. You become what you tell yourself you are, the liar or the warrior, the quitter or the fighter, the victim or the victor. But you don't just say affirmations once or twice. You say them every day, multiple times a day. You say them first thing in the morning when your mind is fresh but vulnerable. You say them before every challenge, before every workout, before every moment when you feel weak. You say them when your mind wants to quit. You say them loud, clear, and with conviction, because your mind listens to volume and certainty. You build your mental muscle by repeating what you want to believe until it becomes an unshakable truth. Affirmations work because the brain is a pattern-seeking machine. It looks for consistency. It builds habits from repetition. When you consistently tell yourself you are strong, disciplined, and capable, your brain rewires itself to act accordingly. Your actions follow your words. Your identity aligns with your affirmations. This is not magic, it's science, neuroplasticity in action. The warrior's mind built from discipline and repetition. Many people underestimate the power of affirmations because they expect instant change. But mental rewiring takes time and effort. It's like training a muscle. At first, your affirmations might feel hollow or fake. That's normal, but the key is persistence. Keep firing those mental bullets. Keep reinforcing your new identity. Eventually, those words become the foundation of your confidence, your focus, and your strength. Using affirmations as weapons means you never hand your mind over to doubt or negativity. You keep control by controlling your thoughts. You fight the lies your mind tries to tell you with the truth you choose to feed it. You build your mental fortress one word at a time. The inner battles are won or lost in the quiet moments of self-talk. So arm yourself every day. Speak with purpose, speak with power. Use affirmations not as empty words, but as your daily mental arsenal, your commitment to conquer every challenge, every obstacle, and every weakness. This is how champions are made. This is how warriors think.